On January 14th, 1968, the Oakland Raiders met the Green Bay Packers in Miami's famous Orange Bowl to determine the world champion of professional football.
Call it loud and clear while it's in the air. I'm going to let it hit the ground.
Raiders!
It is tails, and Oakland has won the toss.
What we see?
They want the football.
We will defend this goal here.
Okay.
Taking quite a bit of time in the huddle, and it figures these are devious
Pass routes on a 3rd and 16 situation.
The game's television audience totaled over 70 million viewers, more than 1/3 of the entire population of the United States.
From high above, from these beautiful skies over Miami, we look down on the Orange Bowl.
Joe Namath is many different things to different people. For the last 4 years, he has been known to most as the unpredictable quarterback of the New York Jets. In 1968, Joe's good days far outnumbered his bad. With Coach Weeb Eubank's steady guidance, Broadway Joe passed the Jets to 11 victories and the Eastern title of the American Football League.
He's a hero, he's a pro, he's a Mr. Something Else, our Broadway Joe. He's a groovy, super guy. He can pass a football through one needle's eye. What a feeling, what a sight, when we see that number 12 in green and white. 1, 2, 3, hip, go, go, go! No one else can score like Broadway
Look for 65 toss power trap. What does it look like?
Hey, look for our 65 toss power trap. Let's see what it looks like.
Gloucester, kill him. 65 toss power trap. Get in there for 65 toss power trap.
Let's block.
Come on, Lenny, let's get 7 points.
Come on, let's go.
65 toss power trap. That might pop wide open, Rats.
It's in there.
Is that there, Rats?
Nice going, baby. Yes, sir, Rats. Yes, sir, boys.
Stuff to bring it in.
Last time you were here, you had a Remington. All right, let's put up the light stands and get a reading now.
Okay, 6 in the slow motion 1, go to 81 black.
3, 2, 1, let go.
In sun-spangled New Orleans, Super Bowl VI unfolded in a panorama of pageantry. This brilliant backdrop was spiced by a surprise arrival, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins were born in expansion, and during their first 4 years, they sought only respectability. Now, after 2 seasons under Don Shula, they were saluted as champions of the AFC. They had arrived at pro football's most important moment. And in the carnival atmosphere of Super Bowl VI, the Dolphins would celebrate the joy of an incredible season. While the Dolphins rode an emotional crest, their opponents readied themselves with somber resolve. For even in the midst of sunny celebration, the Dallas Cowboys were haunted by a troublesome past. A past one man felt more keenly than anyone else. In Super Bowl VI, Dallas was determined to conquer its past as well as the Dolphins. The match was set. 2 teams up from expansion. One bred in the NFL, the other with its roots in the AFL. 2 teams which had never met. One out to earn the title of champion, the other trying to shed the label of loser. Sunday, January 14th, 1973, the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. The dynamic rhythms of Super Bowl VII offered an interesting contrast. The enthusiastic Washington Redskins and the somber Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins were up from hard times. Born in expansion, they had struggled through 4 lean years of defeat while searching for strong-willed leadership. Then along came Don Shula. Shula had proven himself a winner in Baltimore, but a Super Bowl loss soured his Colt career. Now he would shape a new team to match his own square-jawed toughness. "I'm about as subtle as a punch in the face," he said of his coaching methods, and quickly the ragtag Dolphins fell into line. In just 2 years, Shula took his team from cellar to Super Bowl. Against the Dallas Cowboys, Miami took the field coolly confident and left it 2 hours later thoroughly beaten. Don Shula had suffered his second super put-down, but he silently vowed that he wouldn't lose again. In 1972, led by an anonymous defense called No Name, Miami won 16 straight games, yet did so without celebration. They knew 16 in a row meant nothing without victory in the 17th. Blocking Miami's path were the Washington Redskins, another team with a checkered past. For 20 years, the Redskins had been scrimmage fodder for league champions, a perennial loser, also in search of leadership. In this case, George Allen. Allen was Shula's antithesis, encouraging, cheerleading, cajoling, pleading, blending revitalized old Redskins with spirited new additions. Like Shula, Allen created a team in his own image, the Over-the-Hill Gang. Under Allen, Washington won the first Redskin Division championship in history, then ascended to the top of the NFC. In just 2 years, Allen had performed a Shula-sized miracle, and now he took time to celebrate. In the joy of the moment, the Redskins nearly forgot that one step still remained. Super Bowl VII would match more than bodies and game plans. It would test the strength of two clearly defined team personalities and the methods of two men who had shaped them. The computerized No Names and the romanticized Over-the-Hill Gang. On this powder blue Sunday, the Aqua White Dolphins would attempt to settle a score which had haunted them for 1 year. The burgundy gold Redskins would try to ride home on the emotional backwash of their sudden rise to power. Two teams out of a shadowy past to share this moment in the Super Bowl sun.
Should ice it for the Dolphins. Yepremian's attempt will be from 34. Here's the snap. The kick is up. It's blocked. The football is loose. Yepremian's after it. He picks it up. What's he going to do? He's trying to throw it. The ball is batted up in the air. Picked off by the Redskins. Mike Bass down the sidelines. He should go all the way. Damn! What an incredible turn of events. Let me see if I can reconstruct what happened. Yepremian's field goal was low into the line. The kick was blocked. The ball popped loose. Garrow had finally found the handle, and then he tried to throw a pass. His arm went forward. The ball didn't. Garrow batted it up in the air like a volleyball, and Mike Bass and the Redskins picked it up all the way down the sidelines for a Redskins touchdown.
Okay, boys!
There are times when an athletic event transcends the boundaries of sport and becomes embedded in a nation's consciousness. In 8 seasons, the Super Bowl has become such an event. The Minnesota Vikings had come this way before, only to suffer a shocking loss to the underdog Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl IV. Now, 4 years later, they stood on the threshold again, but this time, they were the underdogs. In those same 4 years, the Miami Dolphins had risen from the dregs of the sport to a world championship. Today, they would defend that championship amid the celebration of Super Bowl VIII. In the emotional fever of Super Sunday, attention naturally focused on the superstars. But trailing just behind was a supporting cast almost out of place amid all the pre-game hoopla. Their performance would determine the outcome of Super Bowl VIII.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, that's the score. There's an armored suit around the corner that we have bought to give to Fran Tarkington tomorrow when he goes out to meet Mean Joe Greene, right?
Super Bowl IX arrived on a frigid, rain-soaked January afternoon in the southern city of New Orleans. An early morning storm left the playing field waterlogged. Originally, the Super Bowl was scheduled for the rain-proof, air-conditioned comfort of the Louisiana Superdome, but it was unfinished. So the game was moved, replete with gusty winds and gray flannel skies, to ancient Tulane Stadium. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings would meet in the worst weather yet for a Super Bowl setting. But the cutting cold and damp did not deter 81,000 fans, particularly the huge Pittsburgh contingent, for after 42 years, their team was at last competing for football's grandest prize. And at times, the Sugar Bowl sounded more like Pittsburgh's own Three River Stadium.
We're number one. My voice is number two.
Pittsburgh's opponents, the Minnesota Vikings, had been to the Super Bowl summit not once but twice. And in the hard history of this game, the team with the most experience has always won. So in the ninth coming of Super Sunday, the battle lines were clearly drawn. The youthful enthusiasm of the Pittsburgh Steelers matched against the Minnesota Vikings' glacial calm. Minnesota iron against Pittsburgh steel. Now, as darkness shrouded the field, the steel curtain forming an eerie tableau stamped indelibly on the memories of all who witnessed their great performance, struck one final fatal blow. Mike Wagner's interception of the desperation pass was Pittsburgh's third, and all that remained for the beaten Vikings was to watch helplessly as Franco and his friends muscled down the clock. The Roman numeral classic known as Super Bowl X was to be witnessed not only by the 80,187 in the Orange Bowl, but well over 80 million TV viewers, the largest audience in television history. The pre-game festivities merely stoked the fires for the main attraction, the two finest teams in professional football. The surprising Dallas Cowboys were the Cinderella team of the NFL. Relegated to the purgatory of rebuilding before the season began, Dallas parlayed a new spirit and some last-minute miracles into a storybook season that would culminate with this, their third visit to the Super Bowl. While Dallas needed miracles to reach the summit, Pittsburgh had few pitfalls along the way. For the Steelers had gone from Cinderella status to establishment powerhouse in a single year. Standing between them and a second Super Bowl victory was the master of innovation, Tom Landry. With Landry's slide rule mind on the sidelines and Roger Staubach on the field, Dallas has a nearly unbeatable combination. For Staubach personifies the quarterback as a leader, and his talent is indisputable. His counterpart in Pittsburgh is that famed country singer, Terry Bradshaw. With a stature of Super Bowl IX's Tiffany Trophy behind him, the new Bradshaw is confident and mature. Two teams, both with strong young quarterbacks, but one major difference, Pittsburgh's great steel curtain defense. In all of football, there is no match for it. Super Bowl X, like the 9 others before it, had an abundance of pageantry and pizzazz. But for the first time, the carnival of color was completely overshadowed by the game itself. For Super Bowl X was the most exciting Super Bowl ever.
Liberty is heads. This is tails. He's going to flip it in the air. Pittsburgh is the home team, so Dallas will tell me which guy's going to call it while the coin is in the air.
Right.
Who's going to call it?
Man right here. I'll call it.
All right. When it's on.
All right, you fellas say
While it's in the air, and I'll
she's
repeat.
going to bounce about 3 feet in the air.
Wherever it rests.
Ready? Go.
Got it here.
Heads is called. It is heads.
That's right. Man's foot.
That's all right. Dallas
take the ball.
Take the ball. Which way do you want to go, Andy?
They're taking the ball?
They've got the ball. They always want the ball.
Defend this thing.
You'll defend that one. All right, let's line up so that people understand this.
They've been running that P13 IC. They've been eyeing Fats. And with pass protection eye and the I formation, screw the pass. It's play, pass, or run, so the hell with the pass. You get pass for a pass influence with an eye, play the run. Because they got him to rush upfield, and that's when they've been running that delayed P13.
That's what they were.
Yeah. And the other thing is they ran a ride 35 and they cut all the way behind you. You can't help with that. That's got to be Lambert and that's got to be LC. When he sees that, he's got to close it. Because you start screwing with that, they're going to go up inside of you. We're lucky we got out of that series. We got a lot learned there with 3 points. We ought to be all right.
Despite Pittsburgh's defensive dominance, the game was still 10-7 and belonged to Dallas. Then at the start of the final period, Dallas was forced to punt near its end zone. Chuck Noll called for an uncommon all-out rush with 10 men poised at the line ready to charge the punter. Mitch Hupps never knew what hit him. Reggie Harrison's kamikaze charge blocked the ball and sent it out of the end zone for a safety. As so often happens in pro football, a pivotal play was made by the special teams. Pittsburgh now trailed Dallas by a single point. 50 was the first man in, but missed. And then with two more Cowboys bearing down, Bradshaw stood his ground and let fly. Accounts of the game report Cliff Harris hit Bradshaw, but it was number 63, tackle Larry Cole, who leveled him. One look at Cole and D.D. Lewis tells all you need to know about the results of the play. Terry Bradshaw left the field with a concussion, but he left a hero. Under his leadership, Pittsburgh had 4 scores in the space of 8 minutes, and ahead now by 11 points with only 3 minutes left. The Steelers appeared to have Super Bowl X salted away. But if Pittsburgh thought the issue was settled, Dallas didn't. With the clock running, the Cowboys came winging downfield on the arm of Roger Staubach. Staubach is a former naval officer who never gives up the ship. Against impossible odds, he took his team 80 yards on 4 passes to the touchdown that brought Dallas to within 4 points of the Steelers. Every one of the 80 million plus who watched this game knew what was coming next. Number 72 tackle Jerry Mullins successfully fielded the onside kick, and the Pittsburgh offense, now led by Terry Hanratty, tried to run out the clock. Pittsburgh gained only a single yard in 3 tries. Now, with 1:28 showing, the Steelers were faced with 4th and 9. Here, Chuck Noll made a controversial decision. Everyone expected Pittsburgh to punt, but knowing Dallas had already used up their timeouts, Noll disdained the punt and ran the ball again. Needing 9 yards, it wasn't even close, and Dallas had another chance to score. No one, not even Noll's own players, understood his decision, but it was born from Pittsburgh's punting problems. Walden had dropped 1 punt and nearly had 2 others blocked earlier in the game. Noll had no confidence in his kicking game, and rather than risk the punt, left the issue up to his great defense. It came down to Roger Staubach versus the Steel Curtain defense for one final round. Visions of the Minnesota Miracle flashed through the minds of Dallas fans everywhere. Staubach threw short to former Steeler Preston Pearson, who inexplicably turned toward the middle rather than get out of bounds to stop the clock. Now into Pittsburgh real estate, disaster nearly occurred. "12 seconds left, and the cool courage of Staubach contrasted with a frantic finish, but the quarterback was throwing against a stacked deck. "3 seconds left. Time for one last play in the Super Bowl X. One last chance for the Cowboys to complete their impossible dream. With Glenn Edwards' interception, Pittsburgh's victory was secure. From the opening kickoff to the final gun, Super Bowl X had more fireworks than any bicentennial celebration could possibly match. Chuck Noll joined Don Shula and Vince Lombardi as the only coaches to win the Super Bowl twice. The Pittsburgh Steelers now ranked with Green Bay and Miami as one of the great teams in pro football history.